Welcome to Figure Skating Land. I am your host, Jilly, a neuropsychologist and figure skating enthusiast. I'll be diving into what happened at Finlandia Trophy and in the world of figure skating this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. So let's get to it. So this week was Finlandia Trophy. So the event itself seemed beautifully ran. It had real medals, it had real flags that we haven't seen on the Grand Prix series in a while, and this delightful dancing penguin that I adored. However, many of the events were kind of chaotic or aka menning throughout most of them, like the men's event, the pairs event, and there was even menning in the ice dance, which we're not really used to, which we'll get into in a little bit. So I watched Finlandia Trophy this weekend in between driving to see Ilya's show and home. So that was an interesting experience. Sometimes I would have it on as background in the car. I promise I wasn't watching it. And then I would have to go home and watch it just because I had FOMO while driving. So I apologize in advance if this seems a little bit more brief, but also if you want to watch Ilya's performance from that show I watched, feel free to check out my video on my YouTube channel, and let's get to talking about Finlandia Trophy. So first we're going to talk about the men's event. So the men mend, but I didn't feel like they mend more than usual. Though I feel like unintentional mending happened when the fire alarm went off, right as Mark was saying the word, the men are mending. And then the announcer shortly after just had a completely delightful more touch to the whole event by asking the crowd to stay mid-fire alarm. Like that felt like an unintentional mend, and I found that delightful. So gold medal here was Yuma, silver was Kevin, and bronze was Daniel. Of course, before I get into the podium placements, I want to talk about Junhwan Cha. He withdrew from this event right before, I think it was the free programs practice due to an injury. He reported that his ankle pain had worsened while trying to break in new skates, and he hasn't completely recovered from the nerve damage from last year. He had participated in the short program and he fell on the quad Salchow, and I thought he seemed uncharacteristically not like himself after that fall. Like I've seen him fall in programs before, and he's able to get back up and still perform, but I saw his face and then you could just tell that something wasn't right. So I'm really hoping that his federation is going to let him heal and not have him participate in like 9 million competitions so that he can get back on his skates. So major congratulations here to Yuma. He just won NHK trophy as well, and so this is 2 weeks in a row of him competing and winning. So that is very awesome for him, and that takes a lot of strength as well. So for his short program, it was just amazing. Like he opened up with that quad Salchow, which I adore. Like that is the best thing ever. Like I just wish he would have a whole entire program of Salchows. I'm kidding. But anyway, and one of my favorite things also is he has like this running edge transition out of the jump, and it is just beautiful. Like I adore that jump of his. And then he just landed his quad toe, triple toe beautifully, and his triple axel. That was just a beautiful short program for him. And I feel like this program's growing on me. At first, I wasn't sure how I would feel about the cover of The Sounds of Silence, but he can sell anything because his skating skills are totally unmatched. So for his free program, this was surprisingly not his best skate, though it is possible. This is just a result of that quick turnaround from NHK. I was actually a little bit worried at first that he was going to lose his chance at a medal because you just never know how like the scores are going to lay out. So he came in 5th in the free skate. So due to menning, as Mark said, he was still able to take the gold. So he ended up popping that quad flip into a single flip, and then there was a step out, which that is the same jump that he ended up having that horrible looking fall on at NHK. And then he stepped out of his quad Salchow, which I just got to talking about how that's usually his most beautiful, breathtaking jump for him. And he was able to turn it around when he did his quad toe and triple toe. But then his triple axel had a step out and in a hand down. And his other triple axel was also two-footed. So despite this messy skate, though, we got to see a beautiful step sequence from him, and he was still putting on a show and providing his like famous deep knee bends and deep edges. So one thing that I thought was kind of strange when it came to scoring is I understand that they have to give a lower PCS when there are mistakes, but his PCS was an 83.39 here, and Kevin, who is also an amazing skater, had an 89.05, which is perplexing me. Like, they are both amazing, beautiful skaters, but I think Yuma could have been hovering around closer to that level. But overall, this was very successful for him, and I'm excited to see him at the final. And in second place was Kevin, which makes me so freaking happy. This was another great Grand Prix for Kevin. So with his short, I was super excited for him. Like, he opened up with his quad toe, triple toe, and there was like zero difficulty. And I was so worried when he popped a jump later that when we got to like the free skate, it wouldn't go well. But of course, he proved me wrong. So despite that mistake, he continued to put on like this beautiful performance. And he mentioned that his boyfriend was in the arena, which helped to motivate him. So I'm going to need that man to travel with him to nationals, Europeans, and worlds so we can just keep him going. But regardless, like, that beautiful short program is just, it's amazing. And I need to see it in person. So selfishly, I'm hoping he goes to worlds for his benefit too, but I also want to see this in person. As for his free program, I must admit, I was so worried at first when he first fell on that quad toe. I kept thinking he's going to fall apart, but he proved us all wrong. And then he turned out of the next quad toe, but then he went on to land like the remainder of his jumps. In fact, he did them all pretty well. He got like an exclamation mark on his triple flip, but he received a level 4 on everything. And so I am so happy and proud of him. Like, he was able to keep persisting throughout the program. It didn't even look like he had to fight to land his jumps. And when I'm thinking about that program, like, one thing I really love is he does this Ina Bauer into the triple axel, and that was just beautiful. I also love his pure look of joy once he got to that last jump. And my favorite thing, though, was his reaction to realizing he medaled. And I also wish I could have seen him when he realized he got the silver. So hopefully the rest of the season, he's going to continue on this trajectory. And I also want to point out that he had mentioned in an interview that he is starting to skate for himself. And also he mentioned that he's learning to take breaks. I think it was after Skate America, he went on to Disney. And so I really do think that whatever he's been doing has been working really, really great for him. And I also love that he has proved us all wrong and has been able to really just have such a good success this season so far. And in third place was Daniel, who just got back from getting a silver medal at NHK. So he caused some mini chaos though before coming to this event by addressing his haters on Instagram. So I get that he's young and likely wanted to somehow like stick it to the haters, but bless his heart, this is just not how he should have handled it, because there's so much controversy around the unexplained doping test. Like, this is different than him addressing, like, you know, the assholes that write really mean things about skaters online. Like, this is more like him addressing all the people who are just concerned about kind of where skating is going when someone can miss a whole bunch of doping tests and then get back into skating. So somebody should have maybe stopped him or, you know, told him to address it a different way. But regardless, this is how he chose to handle it. So for his short program, I actually need to probably just Google the theme again because I don't even remember. All I know is there's like a question mark. And I think it's a Benoit special, but I'm not sure. And I love Benoit stuff, but I don't know what this is about. So for his short, he opened up the quad loop and it looked under, though that didn't seem to get called. And like he fell on the triple Lutz. He finished with a triple axel, though, which he does have this really neat transition in the triple axel. I feel like this program does short him better than the free program, and you know, it's not a bad program. I just wish, you know, maybe his jumps would have got looked at or called, but I'm not the judge here. As for his free program, another day and another time that I am so perplexed by the judging. So once again, his jumps are not getting called for under rotations. His quad Lutz and quad Sal Cal were apparently under review. They didn't get called, and I will be honest, and it's not even me trying to be mean, like I actually thought his quad Sal Cal was a triple at first. And I also feel like maybe I need to watch Billy Elliot to see like what he's trying to interpret. Like I read on Blue Sky that I wondered if this was like a movie or musical where he was a little boy who didn't know how to dance, but he liked to dance, so like they put him in a play or like a musical to let him dance. And it seemed that maybe that's actually what the plot line might be, so Daniel might be interpreting this correctly. But you know what, what? I just need to watch the movie so I can make that judgment call. But who knows? I'm so squirrely like right now that who knows if we'll see it. But anyway, so I feel like regardless of what he's trying to interpret, this program is so one note. Like the music has moments that like ebbs and flows, but he doesn't seem to do that in his skating. Like there's a time where the music picks up and yeah, he does his jumps during it, but I feel like it's just such a missed opportunity for like triumph or some kind of moment to get the crowd going. And then even when it turns to the Black Swan, like you would expect some kind of theatrics or dramaticness. We don't really get that. And then he does come to life a little bit whenever, you know, he's at his step sequence. But overall, it's just a really big missed opportunity. And I cannot unsee what was discussed at the run through of him like flexing his feet and not pointing his toes. So that's kind of like stuck in my brain. But I do find his spins nice. Like those are all real nice. Like those are cool. Those are unique. I'll give him that. But I'm just overall kind of perplexed about the judging. Like everybody else seems to get their jumps called. What is it about Daniel's jumps? What is it about Daniel? What is the mystery here? Somebody needs to like do an expose because I'm too lazy to do it. But like someone else can do it and let me know. And I'm just intrigued, but also hoping that the, you know, Grand Prix final will not have shenanigans in it because that would be weird. So let's just kind of see how the rest of the season goes. And before I move on, I also want to talk about Camden from the US. And so this was a difficult competition to watch him in. I know we just saw him in another Grand Prix that was equally difficult. I just couldn't imagine having my full-time job now as a neuropsychologist and then going and skating. Like he works, I think, in the financial district, full-time job, and skates. And I just can't imagine that. Like that is a whole lot of dedication. One thing he did talk about, I think, in an interview at some point was he may make a different decision about that during Olympic year. And so that would be kind of interesting to see. Like, is he going to put his career, which career actually is he going to put on hold? And so for the short program, that was just hard to watch. Like it was really difficult to watch him getting his scores and the kiss and cry. Like it's just heart-wrenching because you know that he's really dedicated to this. I just saw him at nationals where he did an amazing job. And so he just had, I think, a fall in his triple axel, and in his combo, you know, he received a cue for the triple lutz and then he fell in the triple toe. But I have to kind of, you know, give him some props here. Like he still did a beautiful performance despite all those mistakes. And I just can't help but wonder, like, how sustainable is this going to be? So I guess we'll see him at nationals and just see, you know, if he was able to maybe think of a different, you know, way to train. Like I know when people are going to school, some people, I think it was it Polina and Gracie Gold still went to school. So I think like didn't do an online school, and I think they did training before they went to school. So maybe this is kind of like the same thing. The problem is like, you know, he's aging and trying to train. So we'll just kind of see if he's able to come up with a system that works for him. And I hope he does. And now on to the women's. So as we all know, Isabeau and Luna withdrew from this competition. And I actually went into this thinking, since they weren't there, this was definitely going to be a Japanese sweep, which it was a mini sweep. I'm so excited for Lara though. Like this was awesome. And this was her first Grand Prix medal, but we'll get into here in a little bit. And this event was so cool because it was so freaking close in scores. Like this went down to every last step sequence, levels on the spin, time violation, just everything that could help decide the podium placement. So this made a really fun event where it wasn't predictable. You're just kind of like on the edge of your seat thinking like, how is this going to shake out? And the gold here was Hana from Japan, and she is such an endearing person. Like everything about her is just so endearing. Like when she mentioned that she was disappointed because Isabeau and Luna withdrew from this competition, it just warmed my soul and found her more endearing to me. And just hearing that she translates for her teammates and just her interactions with the interviewer, just an overall wonderful human. And I love her skating. She is so powerful, and I think any powerful number just really resonates with her. Like she is just awesome. Like so cool. Again, here I am gushing about Japanese figure skaters, and I cannot wait to watch nationals. And I cannot believe that when I'm thinking about the lineup of all these awesome Japanese women, that I'm wondering which of them are going to be able to make it to Worlds, because there's just so many awesome skaters. But anyway, for her short program, it was mostly clean. She did get a Q on the triple toe. Everything though was a level 4. Like, I love this song for her, and her step sequence was awesome. Just everything down to choreography. Like in the beginning when she starts the program, that's just really neat. Like, I really want to see this in person. And for her free skate, apparently she learned how to translate the French so that she would be able to resonate more of the song, which of course, because she's an awesome human. But I absolutely adore that she went for the triple axel. She ended up under rotating and fell on it, but I love that she went for it because I haven't seen it a whole lot in women's competitions anymore. And so that's awesome, and I hope she keeps going for it. She did a mainly clean program. She received an explanation mark on the triple flip, but everything else was enough to get her to squeak by to the gold. And so this is exciting for her, and I can't wait to see her at nationals. And in second place was our comeback queen, who didn't have to come back quite as far this time around. Just this time she had to go from 4th to 2nd, and so it was Rino from Japan. I absolutely adore this skater, especially her free program, but for her short program, it seems to be difficult for her. So hopefully she can get this straightened out, because I am selfishly wanting to see her at Worlds, and it's going to be hard for her to compete with all the other amazing Japanese women. So if she makes mistakes in a short program, it's just going to be hard for her to kind of keep coming back from that, even though her free program is amazing. So she only fell on the triple flip, but she also received an explanation mark about an edge. It was called on a quarter. So hopefully she can kind of fix those things so I can selfishly see her in real life. And so her free program, oh my God, that is still enchanting as ever. It is as if I've seen it for like the first time ever. Like, I don't care if there was a mistake. It was still as beautiful as it was at Skate Canada. Oh my gosh. So like, she popped a triple sow cow to a double, but I don't even care. And somehow she got a level 3 on a step sequence. Don't even care. Like, that was just so enchanting. Just everything is just so intricate and amazing. And the blade control, I don't know how she does those edges. Like, she should get extra points for that existence. And luckily, I think she had the highest PCS, which deservedly so. I still don't know where the time violation came from. I need to kind of go back and watch again. But how can I go back and watch for the time violation when really you can go back and watch for just the amazing skate? Like, I am fangirling. Mark's fangirling. I think we're all fangirling. Like, I need to selfishly see this at Worlds, damn it. Like, this needs to happen. So if not, then I'm somehow going to put myself in a lottery system so I can go watch a competition in Japan so I can see this in real life, because I need to. So overall, this was so awesome, and hopefully I see her at Worlds. And so in third place was Lara Gutman. This was her first Grand Prix medal, and I'm so excited for her, and I was tearing up so much just seeing her coach tear up. Like, that was just amazing. And so for her short program, it is the Squid Games, and I love that it's unique, and I love that she skates to, like, basically instead of beats her own drum, she skates to her own drum. Like, she does not hesitate to be herself, and this was just overall phenomenal for her. She skated a clean program. She had level 4s on everything, but I think her combo spin received a level 3, but who cares, because all these spins are getting chaotic anyway. I just love kind of like the unique movement she makes, the musicality, like even at the end when it's like pass, can't remember the number now, is it 3, 4, 6, 6, 4, whatever, like you pass. Like, just a really cool program, and the first time I watched it, thought it was cool, but I'm so glad I got to see it again and just all of its uniqueness. This is another one that I selfishly want to see at Worlds, so hopefully I do, fingers crossed. And so for her free program, she showed what a versatile skater she is, being able to do such a soft, beautiful medley after doing something so unique for her short program. So she had opened up this beautiful, huge triple Lutz, triple sow cow. One of my favorite things is like she does this twizzle entrance into her camel spin towards the end of the program. Like, it was overall just so beautifully done. This was like the skates of her life, and this is so cool because she had just found out, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, one of those weeks, that she was coming to this event. Like, she didn't know. And this was after jet lag. Like, overall, this was just a tremendous outing for her. And I am so excited for her. And like I said earlier, just still having my soul just so warmed over by her and her coach's reaction. Like, the man tearing up, that's getting to me. But, and also both Charlene and Carolina Coster left her some support on Instagram, which was the sweetest thing ever. And before I get into her free program, I had a total ADHD moment earlier. It meant that Mark said that her scores were the highest for the U.S. women from last week. Anyway, on to her free program before y'all leave me a comment saying, no, you're wrong. So for her free program, it was technically sound, though she had to step out of the triple sound to some cues, and her landing zone did appear a little bit tighter than usual. So I just kind of hope they recycle this program for when she's able to grow into it more, which is going to come with time, because you can see that everything is, thought down to how her arms are placed. Just maybe over time, like when she's older, she'll be able to have kind of this more powerful presence. But, she still does a really great job for being a first year senior skater and putting on such kind of a strong, powerful program. So I kind of hope they just recycle this, because that'd be kind of neat to see. And in ninth place came in Lindsay Thorngren. I'm worried that she either might still be injured or just some kind of block here when it comes to her jumps. But Mark noted that she's been studying like the impact of injuries on figure skaters, which makes me think that maybe, this injury might still be plaguing her a bit. Her short program was such a struggle for her, and it just broke my heart seeing her in a kiss and cry. She was like smiling while also crying. It's just been hard to kind of watch her these past couple of seasons. Like, she is a beautiful skater, has amazing skating skills, like everything down to where her hands and her legs are. Like, she does this push with her knee. Like, in fact, some of her knee techniques, I don't know if that's the way to word that, knee techniques, but the way she bends her knee kind of reminds me of the intricate ways that the Japanese figure skaters, bend their knee, the use of like the quads. But anyway, quads is in legs. But I just hope that if she's injured, that maybe she can take some more time to rest. Like, maybe does she need more time to rest, or does there need to be some kind of intervention to help rebuild her jumps? Or is this even in the other direction where we need like a sports psychologist? I don't even know. But that was just really hard to see. And especially for someone that I thought was going to be, kind of close behind Isabeau. Like, I thought we'd see her on the podium and that it would be, Lindsay and Isabeau battling, but that hasn't been the case. And I know she had that injury, but something obviously still kind of going on to prevent her from performing up to her ultimate level. And in ninth place came in Lindsay Thorngren. I'm worried that she either might still be injured or just some kind of block here when it comes to her jumps. But Mark noted that she's been studying like the impact of injuries on figure skaters, which makes me think that maybe, this injury might still be plaguing her a bit. Her short program was such a struggle for her, and it just broke my heart seeing her in a kiss and cry. She was like smiling while also crying. It's just been hard to kind of watch her these past couple of seasons. Like, she is a beautiful skater, has amazing skating skills, like everything down to where her hands and her legs are. Like, she does this push with her knee. Like, in fact, some of her knee techniques, I don't know if that's the way to word that, knee techniques, but the way she bends her knee kind of reminds me of the intricate ways that the Japanese figure skaters, bend their knee, the use of like the quads. But anyway, quads is in legs. But I just hope that if she's injured, that maybe she can take some more time to rest. Like, maybe does she need more time to rest, or does there need to be some kind of intervention to help rebuild her jumps? Or is this even in the other direction where we need like a sports psychologist? I don't even know. But that was just really hard to see. And especially for someone that I thought was going to be, kind of close behind Isabeau. Like, I thought we'd see her on the podium and that it would be, Lindsay and Isabeau battling, but that hasn't been the case. And I know she had that injury, but something obviously still kind of going on to prevent her from performing up to her ultimate level. And now on to the pairs. This was a chaotic event and just felt like menning. And I feel like pair skaters are the ones who are suffering through many of like the requirements. And yeah, it just felt chaotic. It was just menning times menning, but not, there's a splash of men in there, but there was women too, and they mend. But it was just, it's just interesting. But let's get to it. So Deanna and Max were were the winners here. However, we are the winners because I'm pretty sure they either soft launched their relationship or they actually put it out there to make us have these false hopes. But they gave us some insight that they're going to be eating Christmas dinner together. And she clarified it would not be a Christmassy dinner. It would be her healthy dinner. But what this entails is dinner with their dog. So to me, all of that equals soft launch. And I don't want to know any different. So for the short program, I think it's really grown on me. First time I watched it, I wasn't sure about. Second time I thought, okay, I think I like this. And now I do like it. Like, it's not my favorite short program for the season. And I actually prefer, of course, their short program from last year. But, it's just starting to grow on me. They did everything clean. So I was incredibly excited for them. Like, it was just a good program. And I think it will probably be enjoyable to watch in person. And I do think, having American Worlds, us Americans are probably going to be, amped up for it. Maybe even more amped though if it wasn't kind of the slow version. But it might be one of these things you just have to see in person. And so for their free program, it wasn't successful for them. But I honestly thought it was going to be way worse. Like, when I woke up, got on Reddit and got on, it's not Blue Sky. And I thought, wow, this is going to be a disaster. But it didn't seem to go as bad as I thought just from reading, people's reactions to it. There was that fluke fall after the step out. I actually really do like this program. And this is one I'm going to be excited to see in person. They moved some elements around. And I really do think that, what they moved around helped. Like, they changed their chorus sequence. They moved a death spiral to the end. Although I remember this death spiral with the edge the way it is when they did the interview with the vampire. And it seemed to fit that a little bit more than this, but I understand why they're doing it because I know just kind of the way the blade is that it is going to get a more GOE in points, but still it's not the greatest match. But anyway, and so now their ending position matches their starting position. But one thing that Deanna had said, and in the interview afterwards, that, they're just looking to peak at the right time. And I think this is kind of, their usual trajectory where they kind of started out slow in the beginning. And slow by getting all the points that they can. And then as each competition goes on, they perform better. So probably by Worlds, we're just going to be screaming through the rooftops. Of course, they're going to go against the Japanese pair, so we'll see how that goes, which I'm excited about. But I really just kind of love this journey for them, and still hoping that was a soft launch into a relationship. And by soft launch, I mean the report of it, not that their relationship soft launch. Guys, sorry, I did not take my medicine today, so this is what y'all are gonna get. The cat snoring and my rambling. And in second place were the Hungarians, but also known as the Russians. I think that's what I saw online because they were from Russia. They're Russian, but also Hungary or skating for Hungary. But overall, I just can't with this program. I don't even know. I just can't with it. As for their free program, the Pirates of the Caribbean themed program. So this program started out technically strong, but then they had the aborted lift. Of course, I think it was for safety reasons, but that cost them a base value of 7 total points. And so while they are technically sound and they're able to stay in sync the whole time, they just don't do a great job of selling this program. They just don't even convince me that they're damn pirates, but that's just me kidding. But they really just don't do a great job of the musicality of it. And I also don't understand the random voiceovers. That doesn't really help. But I just think one thing for them to work on is their performance factor, which is interesting because they seem real into that damn sex bomb program, but you put some pirate costumes on them and they're just not into it. So we'll just kind of see how they do over time. But yeah, this was chaotic, but not as chaotic as all the others. And in third place was Rebecca and Filippo from Italy. So their short program is so powerful. It's just very kind of in your face, the Roxanne, and just very commanding. And so they cleanse the ice with their cleanliness is what we all needed. And so I really enjoyed this. They do a double axel, which is probably one of the first kind of just single double axels that I've seen a bit in pair skating. Because usually you see the double axel into a sequence, but still just a very cool program. And they're really kind of putting a name out there for how Italy is going to be seen during the Italian Olympics for the team event, because there were 3 Italian skaters actually at this event that medaled, which is pretty awesome. And unfortunately, their free program was chaotic enough, mending enough to drop them down to third place. There were just so many mistakes that I thought I was going to sit here and list them off, but that's just a lot. But despite this, though, I do enjoy their Dracula program because it just puts so well together. And I really hope I see it clean in person. I feel like this triple sow cow, though, is like haunting her at this point. So I think we need like a sow cow intervention. But, this was just maybe hopefully just an uncharacteristic outing for them and to get their wiggles out or whatever. And we get to see them at Worlds. And so on to the ice dance. I absolutely did not predict these results whatsoever. I'm so happy for Fear and Gibson. And just though, based on how ice dance usually shakes out, I didn't predict it not because of them, but because of who they're competing against. Like, we just always kind of know how the results are going to go usually when it comes to like Grand Prix assignments. Like, we usually know that, Chalk and Bates are going to get number one, and Piper and Paul, if they're in that, they're going to get number one if they're not with Chalk and Bates. And then, the Italians are in the mix. So, like, for them to get number one is huge. And it's also amusing. And I really wish I would have, went back and got this meme. Someone had made a meme of how they showed a picture of the world's medals and had Talking Bates and all that. And you see Talking Bates fall. Then you see the Piper and Paul fall. And then you see the Italians fall. And it's just kind of funny. It's like how quickly we have fallen. I think it said that, or maybe I put that in my head. But anyway, regardless, this was an interesting event because I, love Talking Bates and I like all the other ice dancers that get number one. But I also like when I don't know how the results are going to go, because almost always you sit there and you're like, yep, I know how this will shake out. Okay, so Fear and Gibson were the winners here. And this was such a good, win for them because they had Skate America also. And they just seemed like a delightful people. Like, they just seemed fun, and he's making me really want to try Japanese pancakes. But anyway, not only was this good for them because, of their standings, but also because she had an injury right before the competition. Like, originally it came out and said that he had scratched her during twizzles with his blade and that she got cut and needed to be carried off the ice. But in other reports, more recent ones, said that his boot took her down and gave her a pretty bad bruise. But regardless, they were able to come back the next day and skate a fairly good rhythm dance. I think they had a mistake in one of the dance elements. Honestly, I wish I was skilled enough to catch it in real time. Relied on Mark to point it out. But regardless, this was a good program. And actually, they're pretty fast here. People talk a lot about them being slow, but actually, I felt like they were pretty speedy here. And so for their free dance, I really think it has the potential to amp us up for Worlds, but it really depends on their energy level going into it. Like, my husband, not knowing about their recent injury, actually remarked that oh wow, they didn't really have energy until the end. In fact, he said something like, well, now they put energy in at the end towards it. So I can't remember if they had more kind of oomph into it at Skate America. I feel like they kind of got the crowd more energized then, but I do think it has the potential to just kind of bring down the house. Maybe there wasn't so many stops and goes, and they also received a point deduction for an extended lift. But other than that, just everything they went through with the injured leg, it was still a good outing. And surprise, they ended up in, first place. And in second place was Piper and Paul after that surprising fall. Oh, that rhymes. Anyway, so I appreciate that their rhythm dance is 100% them into their quirkiness. But I don't know why, but they looked a little slower here than I'm used to seeing. Actually, now that I think about it, I feel like when it comes to their rhythm dances, they might be either more careful or slower. I don't know what it is, but it just seemed a little bit slower here. But things that I do like is I love the cartwheel lift. I also love that Paul gave a thumbs up to the technical panel. That is hilarious. I love their personalities. But I do get distracted a little bit by some of the theatrics. It's just a lot, and I'm a mouth breather. So at first I thought, okay, is she mouth breathing? But no, I think she's trying to be a doll, like the Barbie doll at the beach. But anyway, so it's a little hard to get past that. And I apologize. They're an awesome team, but there's just the theatrics. And so for their free dance, I was shook by the surprise fall by Paul because they're so consistent. The most they'll do is get a lower level in something. And kudos to Piper for keeping herself from falling as well. That was a feat. But also, I'm still confused as if this happened. Did this happen during twizzles? Because it looks like he over-rotated a twizzle and then fell. But then does not seem to be an agreement among the judges. And once again, my stats-loving brain dies inside over just this spread. And so before the fall, though, like I thought they were doing, great. Well, a little bit up to it. So at first, they did the lift and I thought, oh my God, they're going so fast into this lift. They're proving me wrong as they're speeding around. And then they just kind of seemed just not themselves, like just not their usual selves. Like, I don't know what was up, but they just, once you got to the step sequence, it's just kind of where they lost. And then the fall happened. And, they tried to hold it together for the program. And what really broke my heart afterwards was seeing Paul's face in the kiss and cry. Like, he was just like kind of like beating himself up. And I really liked how, Piper and, the coach handled it. And so we all know it's going to be like a one-time thing because they are so consistent and they're going to go to Worlds and it's going to be like intense between them versus Chalk and Bates. And I apologize. My cat once fed again. So if you hear him meowing, I apologize. But anyway, so I can't wait to see them battle, though, actually, Chalk and Bates and the Italians and Fear and Gibson at the final. So in third place for the Finnish team, I really like this tango for them. And I don't understand the concept so much. I mean, I get the concept, but not the concept when you see it skated. But anyway, regardless, like they're so fast. And I read a lot of people being confused about kind of how did they end up with this placement. But when you look at their tango, like everything is choreographed down to like be on the beat of the music, and that was just really cool. And I do think maybe like when they did their twizzles they could have had better ice coverage, but other than that, like they're just a, beautiful team. Like, I just really like this program. Like, just everything was intricate. And just a slide here that I got a picture of here. It's just really nice to see. So, kudos to them. There may have been like a splash at home cooking, but it doesn't seem like there was much because they got this on their own merit, I feel like. And real quick, I want to talk about Zingis and Kalasnik. They came in 5th here, but they were the first of the American teams for this competition. Their rhythm dance, like, they are so fast. That's like the first thing that came to my mind, just how speedy they are. And I also like that they take like a theme that kind of makes most of us die inside a bit, and I feel like they made a good spin of the music. Like, that was fun. So kudos to them for being the top American team at this event in ice dance and for being so freaking fast. Like, that was awesome. And y'all know I love a good Benoit program, so this was awesome to see, and I can't wait to see it in person. But this was a really good free dance for them. I think it showed a nice job. They were able to be speedy and fun and the rhythm dance and do this beautiful, kind of more dramatic free dance. So awesome job to them. And I don't know why I haven't watched them more in life. Like, I think I even said that when I saw them when I was watching Nebelhorn over the summer. Like, why aren't I watching them more in life? So I will be watching them more in life now. And of course, still love them. And Niina from Belgium competed and won at the Tallinn Trophy. She did pretty good here. She did have a couple carrots, or maybe a lot of carrots, according to the skating scores, called on her jumps. I got to watch parts of the short and free program, and it really does look a lot better than what we've seen. It doesn't seem like there's as big of a hold up with the jumps, but looks to be something she's still working on. And so I think it's a really good idea to put her in this competition, get her confidence back up. And so kudos to her. Sophia came in 2nd place at the Tallinn Trophy. Raphael just did an interview where he talked about how she basically needs kind of a complete and total reboot of her techniques. And so I'm glad that she is there and that he is going to help her kind of move past the technique, the type of technique that she was taught. An exciting collaboration for Piper. These two ended their skating relationship, and from what I've heard, she recently sustained a significant skull fracture, which is concerning, and that this breakup was not her decision. And so hopefully this is a correct translation, but the court temporarily approved a discontinue of the disciplinary actions against Haein Lee. And so I don't know any of the other details. I guess we'll just have to, watch and see. I did see that she was performing, I think it was in an ice show recently, so we shall see.